Resident Evil is probably my favorite franchise, actually. I don't think there's anything that I like more than Resident Evil, because in my opinion, they haven't done anything actually bad. I mean, there's some bad movies and some bad games, but they're not the main stuff, and the main stuff pretty much has been good to me. Even, like, the anime. I like the anime, even the ones that are kind of mid. They're still not, like, absolute trash to me. And I love the Resident Evil movies. Am I alone on this? Even though they're kind of like garbage compared to the rest of the Resident Evil franchise and they kind of don't make sense, I love them as just like stupid action movies, like Fast and Furious kind of shit. But apparently the new Resident Evil movie won't be accurate to the game, according to director Zach Kreger. I was hearing that it was supposed to be accurate to the video games. I don't like to see this, but I'm not gonna just put it out. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it. There's no way I'm not watching it, even if it's awful garbage. Actually, wait, hold on. I take it back. There was that awful series on Netflix. I didn't watch it. I watched some of it and I was like, oh man, this is fucking bad. So I immediately was out on that one. But besides that, I even liked that that standalone movie that happened. I wanted more of that, actually. It was pretty good. It was pretty good compared to the rest of the garbage that I see everywhere based on franchises. So let's see what Melonie Mac has to say about it.
You may already know there is a new Resident Evil film in the works, and what have we seen in recent history in terms of live-action Resident Evil films? Trash.
Well, just the one thing, actually. So I disagree on this.
Slop. Inaccurate. Doesn't even try to make the fan base happy.
I really kind of don't care about that. But yeah, she's right about that standalone movie. A lot of people didn't like it. That standalone show, even I didn't like that. I forgot about it. That's how much I didn't like it.
Happy nightmares, right? And so what are they going to do now? The same thing! Yay!
Yeah!
Oh my goodness, here we go. Let's go ahead and dive into this video.
As long as it's not like DEI slop, I'm kind of gonna be okay with it, even if it's bad. If it's like a good kind of bad, I'll be on board.
So we have here, says Zach Kreger explains his approach for his upcoming Resident Evil movie. He says, I'm definitely not trying to be completely obedient to the lore of the games. I'm trying to tell a story that feels authentic to the experience you get when you play the games. First of all,
I'm cool with that. I am cool with that. That sounds like it will be cool. Hopefully it's just new characters. I'll take new characters. I liked Alice from the original movie series. Let's get something like that. We don't have to get characters from the video games. We can make new characters, and maybe they'll be good enough that the video games will be like, hey, we can use this. Hopefully. I'm not gonna get my hopes up. Still, probably gonna watch it.
Do you even play the games though? That's what I want to know.
I'll watch it just to get that juicy content talking about it.
If you're gonna try,
especially as a Resident Evil fan,
to create an authentic experience that you get when you play the games, you kind of have to play the games, right? Is that even a thing? So let's check out this article that goes over more of what's been going on. That's the thing.
I've heard of Bloody Disgusting. I like Bloody Disgusting.
Is if you want to tell a new story, you can tell a new story, but at least stay remotely accurate with the lore. The overarching lore, the characters, if you're going to introduce characters that have already existed, you know, if they wanted to take something, let's say, for example, somebody wanted to make a Resident Evil movie and live action movie, because we know the 3D ones that actually are accurate with the game lore and stuff and use.
If they make a Resident Evil movie that's, you know, kind of like that first Silent Hill movie, I'll be okay with that.
The characters, and those are fun.
Not the second Silent Hill movie. Fuck that movie.
It's not necessarily like going to have as much mainstream appeal, I don't think, because of how campy and a bit on the low budget side they can be, but they're fun. I like them, but I like Resident Evil a lot, but I even like, I've got my dad to watch some Resident Evil movies.
I like Resident Evil more than a lot. I am a huge fan. I've played every Resident Evil game. I own all of the Resident Evil games.
With me, and he enjoys.
I've seen every movie. I've even read the Resident Evil books and comics. And I'm a huge fan of Residents of Evil, the YouTube channel.
For what they were, he may have made a lot of jokes, but about, you know, kind of dunking on the quality or some of the campy writing. But hey, you know, but when it comes to like a big movie, you want this to be successful, you want this to be in theaters, all this kind of stuff, and you want this to have mainstream appeal. First of all, the games already do have a huge mass appeal, so why do you feel like you have to change things so much when it comes to this? But if you wanted to create a new story,
because everybody's trying to make their own story, they're trying to implant their ideas into a franchise, mostly as a cash grab. I think this mostly is a cash grab. Otherwise, they would just make their own movie. Because I don't get why they're just going to be like, we're going to make it an authentic experience like when you're playing the game. But we have no idea about how the game is played because we've never played it. We've just seen some clips on YouTube.
I get it. I don't personally, when it comes to video game adaptations, I don't want to see the same story rehash. One thing I really love about...
Yeah, hopefully this isn't just going to be like, oh, we're just doing a reboot of the original movie series. Hopefully it is like a totally new thing.
The first Tomb Raider movie, for example, using that specifically with Angelina Jolie, is that they did give us a new story. They gave us a new adventure that Lara Croft was going on, but the heart of the character, her appearance, her personality, all of that was still there. They did take some creative liberties that I didn't like, not even gonna lie, when it came to Lara Croft's backstory and stuff. But as a whole, I thought that the first movie was a...
I don't need no backstory. I don't need no backstory for characters in Resident Evil. Like, just make them new. The backstory should be the older movies. Like, this should be the start of the new story, and then the second movie, the backstory of the character should be from the first movie. Honestly, I don't care about what the character was like when they were growing up. I don't care about what happened before the movie. Just make a fucking good movie. Because they don't do that in Resident Evil games. They don't tell you really what the character was like before everything happened. They tell you, like, for instance, Resident Evil 2 with Leon. He was a cop, right? He was a new cop. He was a rookie cop. And that was his backstory, is that he became a rookie cop. And they used the Resident Evil 2 story as the backstory for the future games, like Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 6. They didn't have to make up stories that happened before those games happened, except for, like, the fact that Leon was friends with the president. Stuff like that.
A lot of fun, and kept the heart of the game. Are they going to, of the game franchise, are they going to be able to do that with Resident Evil here?
I think it might be pretty good. I'm going to guess and say that it's going to be a 7 out of 10. It's not going to be as good as the first Resident Evil movie, but hopefully it's going to be kind of like that with how they stay true to how the Resident Evil games feel, because Resident Evil 1 was pretty good. It's pretty good. They like had some moments. It was really campy and I loved it. One of my favorite movies of all time, by the way.
Can't help but question it because we've been burned time.
Oh man, I'm probably going to end up watching it again today.
Time and time again. If they wanted to take an approach like, you know, think of Resident Evil 7, taking Ethan Winters, here's a new character, they still have some old characters, and like you'll see Chris Redfield, for example, which mistakes were made with his design in the 7 DLC, but they fixed that in 8. So you have stuff like that
the Chris Redfield part in 8 I wasn't really a big fan of. But I fucking love Resident Evil 8. It's one of my favorite Resident Evil games. It's probably like my 3rd or 4th favorite. I'm counting Resident Evil 4, both of them, as one game. Because it's just, you know, it's just easier to do that. They're both in the number 1 spot. Resident Evil 5 is in the number 2 spot.
I think could work for a movie. Look at the other live-action Resident Evil movies from the past with Mia Jovovich, right? They introduced Alice. And so you have...
With the badass character. I love Alice in the Resident Evil movies. All the way through it, from beginning to the end. I even loved, like, the bad Resident Evil movies. The last few. Like, Afterlife and everything after that. I still like it a lot.
had other characters that were in the game, but they were delivered accurately. Jill Valentine, oh my goodness, she was perfect, right? So if they wanted to do something of that nature, like, hey, let's introduce a new character in the Resident Evil universe, and we're gonna have cameos from existing characters, but like try to stay accurate with the lore of.
I want a completely new story with completely new characters.
The games, the overarching lore, okay? So we have this article that says what's next for him after.
I actually don't even care if they make up new lore for the movies and the movies be a separate universe from the video game franchise. I'm completely cool with that. There are a lot of franchises that I love that do that, where the video games are completely different from the movies, and I love the movies and the video games. This is kind of an old one, but many people aren't going to know about this. The Game Boy Color Harry Potter games, Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, before the movie came out, loved those. And then the movies came out, like, those are they're completely different. They have nothing to do with each other. And really, it's like the same story as the book, but it's different from the book. The movies are different from the book. The video games are different from the book. By the way, not talking about the, like, PlayStation ones, the ones that were based on the movie, based on the movies. I'm talking about the 2 video games that were directly based on the book before the movies even came out. I love those games, especially the first one. I don't remember Chamber of Secrets, but I remembered liking it when I was a kid. But I do know that it was not like the movies, and it was pulling inspiration from the books.
Weapons releases in theaters this August, so he's headed to Raccoon City to direct the next installment of the Resident Evil movie franchise, which will be the 8th live-action movie based on the hit video games. So, well,
I guess Resident Evil would be another good example, because I love the original Resident Evil movies, and they're completely different from the games.
Krager's Resident Evil is said to take the title back to its horror roots and be more faithful to the initial games. Well, how do you say you want to be more faithful to the original games and then say you're not going to be obedient to the game? Why?
He's talking about the feeling of it, and like the feeling of dread and horror, and like the sounds are going to be really droney and unsettling. I want to go for the unsettling Resident Evil, because Resident Evil, it wasn't really all that scary in terms of scares, but the vibe of it was uncomfortable.
It's just like, okay, what if he does make something amazing that is mostly faithful? Then why would you say this in an interview and just tick off the whole fan base?
Yeah, I don't think she's actually understanding what he's meaning. Maybe she is and I'm misunderstanding. I don't know.
Okay, I don't have the most faith in whatever he's working on. I'm not even gonna lie. So, he doesn't intend on being a slave to the franchise's lore.
It's not that I don't have faith in him. I just don't have faith in modern movies and in TV shows and things. I just have zero faith.
That's interesting wording. Because if you actually like the franchise, you're not gonna feel like a slave to the lore. If someone said, hey, Melonie, we want you to be in charge of a new Tomb Raider movie. We want you to direct it and be in charge of all that. Obviously, I've not directed a movie in my life, but I'm just speaking hypotheticals here as a huge fan of Tomb Raider. I would never in the history of my life say, I don't want to be a slave to the franchise lore. I would never say that.
Yeah, she makes a good point. Why would you say that? Like, even if that's true, why would you say that? Because you're just going to get people who were going to watch the movie being like, this sounds like another garbage movie. It sounds like another modern movie. And we don't want that. We want... You say that it's going to be like the old Resident Evil games, but, like, we've heard that before. And it ends up not being the case. They end up completely fucking everything up. Like with Silent Hill Revelations. We're gonna try and stick to the vibe of the video games, of the current video games, and at the time, I think Silent Hill was not doing good. Gonna stick to the vibe of the video games, and not, like, just kind of do our own thing. And it didn't work.
because I'm a fan of the franchise. I would be like, ooh, especially when it comes to like classic Tomb Raider. If you're talking classic 1 through 6 lore, especially 1 through...
I think the way she feels about Tomb Raider is the way I feel about Resident Evil, except for the new Resident Evil games are fucking awesome, and the new Tomb Raider games are eh.
5, 1 through 4, I would say, heck yeah. Like, yes, I want to stay in this lore, and I want to be as accurate as possible with...
I also think Tomb Raider's not a good comparison, because Tomb Raider movies, they're not using a new main character. They're using the same main character. Resident Evil movies, they got new characters.
And hey, let's go ahead and build on this. That's what I would want to do. So no, I wouldn't want to rehash a story that's already existed again, because I mean, why? I feel like movies, when they just tell the same story that already existed, they typically do worse, unless the story that they're basing it off of is bad in the first place. Like the reboot Tomb Raider. When you look at the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider movie, that was...
I don't think that I've seen it. I think I've only seen the old Tomb Raider movie, and I don't remember it, because it's been since I was a young teenager. Not even a recent teenager. It was like I was 14.
Better than the game story for a number of reasons, but ultimately it would have been a far better experience if they created a brand new adventure instead of try to rehash an existing story and just make changes to it.
And that's why I love Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil Apocalypse, the movies. And I love Extinction. I loved Afterlife. I loved, what was it, Retribution? And then Final Chapter. I love all of them.
But I already have a bunch of issues with the 2013 game story. But I digress. This is a Resident Evil video, not a Tomb Raider video. This is how I do. All right, so...
I also love the animated Resident Evils, even though they're kind of more trying to stick to the games. They change some things. They take some liberties. I'm cool with it. I like them.
Take it back to its
even
roots.
The bad ones.
Be more faithful to the original games. Okay, I am a gigantic Resident Evil game fan, he says. I've played them all. Okay, really? Really? I don't know how many times I've just looped.
I've played them all. What does that mean? Like, what do you mean by you've played them all? Like, you've played Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, you know, all the main ones? Or all of them, including, like, the, on-rails shooters and Dead Aim. I really like Dead Aim, by the way. I would really like to see a Dead Aim remake. And, like, everybody forgets about that game. That was the precursor to Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4 again and again. I just love it. I'm definitely not trying to be completely obedient to the lore of the games. I'm trying to tell a story that just feels authentic to the experience you get when you play the games. Well, here's the thing. We'll know. We'll know by the product. And once they drop that first trailer and stuff, that's when we'll know. Are you really a fan of the games? Because how many times do we hear actors, directors, oh, I'm a huge fan of the games, when they adapt something and then you can just tell they're not. You can tell.
Or they were a fan and played them 15, 20 years ago. Like, yeah, I've looped Resident Evil 4 so many times. I don't remember anything about it because that was 15 years ago.
That's not the case, right? So I think saying he's played every single Resident Evil game,
that's a stretch. He's definitely stretching. He's probably played all the main ones. I can give him that because they're pretty fucking popular. I doubt that he's played all of the side games. But if he did, that would make me feel better about this, which I already kind of feel good about it. I don't feel bad about this new Resident Evil.
When you make that kind of statement, you've got a lot of eyes on you on what you've done. Because now if he hex anything up or gives us some trash, like whatever that last abomination was that I refused to watch, that race swapped Jill, it's like, fans are gonna know. They're gonna know.
Yeah, race swapping Jill, that's fucking stupid. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. They should have just made a new character. They just make new characters.
The super fans, you can't trick them.
And the super fans are going to be the ones who's going to watch it. Like the masses, they're not going to be watching Resident Evil. Like, they might watch it on passing, but they're not going to be the ones who are actually fans of it, that are going to buy the merch, that are going to watch the movie multiple times, going to buy the physical copy of the movie, they're going to buy the poster. Like, regular people aren't doing that. Like, they're not going to buy t-shirts.
Right? They can tell. They can clock it. Kreger continues, I don't think I am breaking any major rules. Okay, I don't think. He doesn't say I'm not breaking major rules. He says, I don't think. How do you not? Wouldn't you know?
Like, yeah, how do you not know? How do you not know? Oh, man. That's another strike.
No? How do you not know if you're breaking major rules or not? How is this ambiguous?
Yeah, if you're a fan of the games, like, what are you talking about, bro? Which games are you even talking about? Saying the original ones, but which version of the original ones? Which original ones? Like Resident Evil 1 or Resident Evil 3? Because there's a big difference. Or even Resident Evil 4. Like, there's a huge difference.
You've played every game. You would know. Okay. But I also recognize that no matter what I do, people are going to come for me online. So
dude, it'd be so good if we got like a Resident Evil movie that was like Dead Aim, where it was just completely different. Like, it was obviously a Resident Evil game, but all different characters in a new place. And it wasn't like expanding on the lore. It was just happening on a boat.
all I want to do is just make a really good movie and tell a story that's compelling. I know that I'm going to be...
I've been talking about Dead Aim a lot whenever I talk about Resident Evil, because I'm trying to manifest that into existence.
Happy with the movie, and hopefully other people will be too. See, I think this is such a bad approach when creating something that has a big...
I think I'm going to end up playing Resident Evil Dead Aim on my gaming channel, link down there in the description, by the way.
A movie for something that already has a big fan base. He's already combative in the fact that he says, well, no matter what I do, people are going to come for me. That's not a good attitude. The better attitude is...
Yep. Oh, there's just going to be haters online. People are going to be mad about it no matter what. Who cares? Nobody cares. That is true, but you don't got to say it. Because it makes us think that you're just going to skirt all criticism and everything that you do is based and good and cool and awesome. And that's just not going to be the case, because this isn't going to be a 10 out of 10. No way it's going to be a 10 out of 10. Like, I'm feeling 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Hopefully it's not just mid, because that'd be the worst case scenario. I hope it's either very good or even fucking awesome, at least very good, or extremely bad. I want one of those scenarios to happen. If it's anywhere in the middle, I'm out on it. I might watch it once for the content, just so I can talk about it and shit all over it. But not gonna be making a bunch of content. But if it's really good or really bad, I'm gonna make a bunch of content out of it. I'm gonna farm the fuck out of it.
Hey, I want to make fellow fans happy. Like, if I were in charge of any type of Tomb Raider product, especially classic related, my mindset wouldn't be, well, they're going to come after me no matter what. So my mindset would be, oh, I just really don't want to let them down. Imagine the people.
Yeah, I want the fans to love this. I don't care about everybody else, just the fans. I'm making this for the fans. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want, is a movie for Resident Evil fans. Not for the wider audience, not for a modern audience. No, get that shit out of here. Get that shit out of here, man.
People who did the Tomb Raider remasters, right? Because there were fans who were on board. I'm sure there was a lot of pressure of, I don't want to let them down.
I hope Capcom has something to do with this, and they're like, no, you have to make it accurate.
Because they care about the fellow fans, because they are a fan. So you're not going to have this antagonistic attitude or this defensive attitude if you care about the fans, because you are one. So I can't help but question that. And hey, I'm not saying no matter what he makes is going to be bad, but I'm saying this is definitely, it has me skeptical for sure.
Oh, I'm definitely skeptical.
So he also says,
I'm not gonna buy it day one. I'm not gonna pay to watch it day one. I'll wait a while. Definitely. Especially if everybody's talking about it being mid, then I'll wait a while. If it's really fucking good, I'll go pay to watch it in theaters. There's a few people that I watch online that are going to tell me whether it's good or not, and I'm going to believe them.
Also say, I've never seen a movie like it. Kreger teases in the chat with SFX Magazine. It doesn't jump around like Weapons and Barbarian.
If it like pulls the camera back and you see the characters, and there's not a whole bunch of cuts like during fights and stuff where you can't really see anything, but it's like, this is what's going on, you know what's going on, we don't have to show it. Get that out of here. But it seems like maybe they will do that. Maybe they will pull it back, like the games where you can just see things happen instead of like, oh well, it jumps to this and this guy's in a fight, everything's chaotic. I don't want that, because that's not the way the original games are. That's kind of what it sounds like it's gonna be, hopefully.
But it is still unto itself. Okay, I don't know for sure what that's supposed to mean. After seeing live,
I mean, maybe he's saying like it's still its own thing, but it's still Resident Evil. Hopefully that's what he's saying. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
action movies in a short-lived Netflix television series, Constantine Film and PlayStation Productions are bringing Resident Evil back to the big screen with Kreger writing and directing. Zach Kreger's Resident Evil hits theaters September 18th, 2026.
Bro, why? Why are we talking about this then? Dude, I hate that, like, it takes so long for stuff to come out whenever they announce it. Why can't they announce it and be like, hey, this thing, it comes out in 2 months. Remember when that was a thing that would happen? Or maybe like a year at the most, like with Ratchet and Clank. I've been talking about that a lot because I've been playing Ratchet and Clank. But they legit said in Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, see you in a year. And then a year later, Up Your Arsenal came out.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm just going to say that if he's claiming to be a super fan, he's definitely not convincing me that that's the
As a super fan myself, he's not convincing me either.
Case with his attitude that he has. We'll see. I'm not going to completely write it off. I want to see I want to see more. Like, I want to see what's being worked on. I want to see what's happening. I want to see, I just need to see more before I can come to some sort of conclusion.
I want more than any other movies, any other franchise for this to be good. I really, really want some more Resident Evil content. More content from Resident Evil, the better. Right now, it's the only franchise that hasn't completely burned me.
But I'm just saying, I don't have the highest of hopes right now with what he's saying, and with already being defensive.
But I always have a shield up. I never get my hopes up about anything. That allows me, whenever there's something really good, I'm pleasantly surprised. And if it's really bad, I'm like, well, yeah, I saw it coming, so I don't feel bad about it.
Against the fans, it's definitely not a good thing. So we'll see. But there you have it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I would love to suggest my Bible channel to you guys, Bible Time with Melonie Mac. Whether you're a Christian or not, I would love to see you there. I have the complete Bible read there, and then I also am uploading more videos to help encourage you in whatever you're going through in your life. And I would love to be an encouragement to you and to direct you to God's word in a way that can really help you with anything that it is that you're going through. So hope to see you there. Thank you all again. I'll catch you next time. In the meantime, go boom. You may already know.
What is that face? I paused at the wrong time.
Yeah,
there we go. Yep. Resident Evil. I hope this movie's good. I hope this new franchise is good. The games are fucking incredible, but I don't got high hopes for it. I haven't had high hopes for Resident Evil outside the video games in a long time. I'd really like to see more books, and like an anime would be pretty cool. Like an actual anime, not one of those 3D animated anime series movies, extended movies into a series. I like those, but I want an actual anime, an actual good one too, like a 9 out of 10. We haven't been getting those. We haven't got one of those in a long time. I really liked Degeneration. I thought Degeneration was a really, really good animated Resident Evil movie. A lot of people don't like it, but I do. I like it a lot. And the one after that, where it was kind of in a different country. I don't even remember. It was like Eastern Europe or something. Like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for all notifications.